Benidorm was once a paradise of laughter and dazzling moments, taking audiences on a vacation right from their living rooms. But when the stage lights went out, behind the scenes were tragedies no one expected. Some still shine brightly, some have changed beyond recognition, and some faces have disappeared forever. What are their lives like now? You will be shocked when you learn the truth. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. Jake Kuso as Matteo Castellanos. Jake Kuso was born on January 13, 1970, in Zurich, Switzerland. In 2007, when he was 37 years old, he joined Benidorm and quickly became the heart of the Solana bar with his role as Matteo Castellanos, a flirtatious, witty bartender full of tricks. This role not only brought him closer to the public, but also became tied to the image of a charming gentleman who carried many hidden sides in his private life. Before he became famous, Jake went through a challenging period. In 2004, while vacationing in Koh Prathong, Thailand, he faced the Indian Ocean tsunami disaster. When he saw the first waves, he climbed a tree to escape, but the trunk broke and he was swept into a violent whirlpool. Surviving by a hair's breadth, he was left with a heavy emotional scar, a fear of water that lasted for years, preventing him from swimming or even standing near the sea. That experience became a haunting mark, shaping the way he valued time and driving a fierce determination in both his work and relationships. After leaving Benidorm, Jake continued to seek balance between the spotlight and his personal life. His acting career expanded to include The Royals, Scarborough, Kinky Boots, and pantomime productions such as Aladdin in 2022. But fame also came with pressure. Endless tours, packed filming schedules, and private relationships that were hard to maintain. He once admitted that he found it difficult to sustain long-term relationships when work always came first, and that this fast-paced life had often left him facing loneliness even at the height of his career. In 2025, at the age of 54, Jake is still active in film and theater, maintaining a toned physique thanks to a strict workout routine. From performing with the Spice Girls and Elton John to international film sets, his journey has been one of overcoming challenges and reinventing himself. His estimated net worth of around $2 million USD is the result of more than 3 decades in the business. Kenny Ireland as Donald Stewart. Kenny Ireland was born on August 7, 1945, in Paisley, Renfrewshire, Scotland. In 2007, when he was 62 years old, he joined Benidorm as Donald Stewart, a cheerful, eccentric swinger, always accompanied by his wife Jacqueline in bold and charming comedic situations. From the very first season until his passing, Kenny's Donald became a standout character, bringing a sense of free-spirited laughter to audiences. Behind the humor on screen was a childhood marked by loss. His father, a RAF bomber pilot, died during a secret mission when Kenny was just 5 months old, leaving a huge gap in the family. His mother raised him in hardship, and Kenny found an escape in the arts, eventually becoming one of the leading figures of Scottish theatre. However, his position as artistic director of the Royal Lyceum Theatre in Edinburgh for over a decade was filled with tension. Budget pressures, disputes with arts administrators, and his frustration over delays in national theater projects. In his personal life, Kenny experienced contrasting emotions in love. His first marriage to Marilyn Imrie ended in separation, after which he found stability with his second wife, Meg Poole. It was Meg who stood by him as he worked tirelessly from film sets to the stage, regardless of age or health. But in June 2014, devastating news arrived. Kenny was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. Just a few weeks later, his condition worsened, forcing him to leave Benidorm in the midst of the love and support of colleagues and audiences. The production team still allowed Donald to appear through a phone call as a deeply emotional farewell. On July 31, 2014, Kenny Ireland passed away in London at the age of 68, closing a performing career that spanned more than half a century. He left behind an estimated net worth of around $1 million USD, the result of years of dedication to theater, television, and film. Siobhan Finneran as Janice Garvey. Siobhan Margaret Finneran was born on April 27, 1966, in Oldham, England. In 2007, when she was 41 years old, she joined Benidorm as Janice Garvey, the strong, perceptive, and charismatic mother of the Garvey family. Siobhan's character was both humorous and emotionally rich, serving as an emotional anchor for the storyline and becoming a fan favorite throughout the first 7 seasons. The role also marked one of the most significant turning points in her television career. Behind her success, Siobhan's life had its own difficult turns. From the late 1990s, she deliberately reduced her acting schedule to focus on raising her 2 children with her husband, actor Mark Jordan. The pressure of balancing work and family life was far from easy, especially when both were active in the entertainment industry with busy filming schedules. Their marriage, which lasted nearly 17 years, ended in 2014, leaving her with considerable emotional loss. Even so, Siobhan maintained a respectful relationship with her ex-husband to co-parent their children while regaining her balance through new artistic projects. Leaving Benidorm was one of the hardest moments of her career. In several interviews, Siobhan admitted that she and Steve Pemberton, a close co-star, were in a bad way when saying goodbye to the cast, as years of working together had turned colleagues into a second family. After leaving the hit series, she quickly proved her talent by taking on more complex roles: Sarah O'Brien in Downton Abbey and Claire Cartwright in Happy Valley, a performance that earned her a BAFTA nomination in 2017. In 2025, at the age of 58, Siobhan Finneran remains steadfast in her artistic career while also serving as a patron for Contact Hostel, an organization that supports homeless young women in Manchester. Her estimated net worth of around $3 million USD not only reflects the result of more than 3 decades of dedicated acting, but also stands as proof of the lasting appeal of an actress who has always known how to turn challenges into opportunities and preserve her identity in every role she plays. Jeffrey Hutchings as Mel Harvey. Geoffrey Albert Hutchings was born on June 8, 1939, in Dorchester, Dorset, England. In 2007, when he was 68 years old, he joined Benidorm as Mel Harvey, the talkative husband of Madge, a humorous businessman constantly struggling with his ventures. This role quickly became an indispensable part of the series, helping Geoffrey reach a new generation of viewers after decades devoted to theater and television. Behind the stage lights, his first marriage to actress June Watts was not fulfilled, before he found a home with Andrea Godfrey in 1988. Andrea became his emotional anchor, supporting him through stressful periods in the profession, especially when he had to take on major roles one after another on the West End stage. The success of Benidorm opened a new chapter for Geoffrey, but fate took an unexpected turn. In the summer of 2010, while preparing to film the Christmas special, he was suddenly hospitalized and passed away on the morning of July 1st from meningitis, just 9 days before his 71st birthday. His sudden passing forced the script to be rewritten, with the character Mel Harvey passing away off-screen during a business trip abroad. Colleagues and fans were shocked, as only weeks earlier he had been full of energy on set. Geoffrey Hutchings was cremated at Kensal Green Cemetery in West London, closing a career that spanned more than 4 decades of dedication to the arts. He left behind an estimated net worth of around $1 million USD, the result of a tireless career stretching from Shakespeare and the West End to television. Steve Pemberton as Mick Garvey. Stephen James Pemberton was born on September 1, 1967, in Blackburn, Lancashire, England. In 2007, when he was 40 years old, he joined Benidorm as Mick Garvey, a cheerful father, sometimes lazy but deeply devoted to his family, who often unintentionally dragged his wife and children into chaotic situations full of laughter. This role also opened a new path for Steve in mainstream television, beyond the comedy fanbase that already knew him from The League of Gentlemen. Behind the camera, Steve faced a hectic work schedule and constant creative pressure. Writing scripts while also starring in projects such as Psychoville and later Inside Number 9, he was constantly under stress, traveling frequently, and rarely finding time to rest. Leaving Benidorm was a major emotional blow. He once shared that he and co-star Siobhan Finneran were in a bad way when they had to say goodbye to the cast, who had become like a family after nearly a decade together. That sense of loss only eased when he poured all his energy into new works, taking on more challenging, emotionally complex roles. In his personal life, Steve lives with his partner Alison Rowles and their 3 children in North London. Balancing family life with a creative career has always been a challenge, especially as he constantly shifts genres from comedy to drama, horror, and even psychologically intense villain roles. Long nights spent writing scripts, months of filming away from home, and the pressure to maintain the quality of each project have left him exhausted at times. But these very challenges helped Steve define his resilience, breaking free from the shadow of Mick Garvey to become a versatile actor-writer respected by both critics and audiences. In 2025, at the age of 57, Steve Pemberton remains one of the leading faces of British television, continuing to make his mark with Inside Number 9, the series that won him the 2019 BAFTA for Best Male Comedy Performance. His career of more than 3 decades has earned him an estimated net worth of around $4 million USD, but his true value lies in his ability to reinvent himself and maintain enduring appeal. Sheila Reed as Madge Harvey. Sheila Reed was born on December 21, 1937, in Glasgow, Scotland. In 2007, when she was 70 years old, she joined Benidorm as Madge Harvey, the sharp-tongued, chain-smoking grandmother who was always seen in her mobility scooter, famous for her blunt quips and rare grit. Madge became one of the show's iconic characters, delivering moments that were both hilarious and deeply relatable, making audiences laugh while also admiring her toughness. In her personal life, Sheila experienced a marriage to actor Julian Curry before divorcing, and later found happiness with Terry Bullen, whom she married in 2008. As a woman who dedicated her life to the arts, she once admitted that acting was her way of escaping her insecurities, but at the same time, it was also the greatest challenge, requiring her to strip away every layer to fully embody a character. A busy stage and television career, combined with advancing age, meant she could not avoid physical and mental strain. Nevertheless, Sheila has remained steadfast, constantly moving between film sets, the theater, and arts events, proving an unyielding passion for her craft. In 2025, at the age of 87, Sheila Reed continues to appear in new projects such as The Cleaner, 2024, and productions with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Her estimated net worth of around $2 million USD is the result of more than 6 decades of dedication. But more valuable still is the image of an artist who refuses to let age define her abilities, keeping the fire of her profession alive and continuing to portray characters that audiences will never forget. Tim Healey as Les and Leslie Conroy. Timothy Malcolm Healey was born on January 29, 1952, in Newcastle upon Tyne, England. In 2009, when he was 57 years old, he joined Benidorm as Les Conroy, later Leslie, a kind-hearted, humorous, and compassionate resort employee. Tim's character brought warmth and created moments that were both funny and touching, especially when exploring the story of a transgender person within the lively resort setting. The role became a special highlight of his television career, showcasing his courage in portraying a sensitive and often debated character. In his personal life, Tim experienced a 24-year marriage with actress Denise Welch, beginning in 1988. They had 2 sons, Matthew, lead singer of the band, the 1975, and Lewis, a young actor. The final years of the marriage were marked by strain as work pressure, busy filming schedules, and constant media attention weighed heavily on their relationship, leading to its end in 2012. 3 years later, Tim remarried Joan Anderton, finding peace and a strong source of support that helped him balance his career and personal life. In 2025, at the age of 72, Tim Healey continues to appear regularly on both screen and stage, maintaining his charm with a style of acting that is simple yet deeply emotive. From behind-the-scenes stories of Benidorm to new roles, he continues to prove himself as one of British television's most respected veterans. His estimated net worth of around $2 million is the result of more than half a century in the arts, but his greatest legacy lies in his sincerity, perseverance, and ability to turn every character into an unforgettable memory for audiences. Janine Duvitski as Jacqueline Stewart. Janine Duvitski, born Christine Janine Duvitski, was born on June 28, 1952, in Morecambe, Lancashire, England. In 2007, when she was 55 years old, she joined Benidorm as Jacqueline Stewart, a cheerful, eccentric swinger who consistently brought unforgettable comedic moments alongside her on-screen husband Donald. This character was both outspoken and charming, becoming the focal point of many humorously dramatic scenes, and helped Janine make a strong impression on television audiences after a string of iconic roles in Waiting for God and One Foot in the Grave. Off-screen, Janine has a rare, long-lasting marriage in the entertainment world. She has been married to actor Paul Bental since 1983, and together they raised 4 children: Jack, Albert, Ruby, and Edith. Ruby followed in her mother's footsteps into acting, while Edith became the lead singer of the band Fours. After more than 4 decades together, they have shared not only daily life but also an understanding of the pressures of the acting profession, giving Janine a strong emotional foundation to sustain her career. She has often said that family is the most important support that allows her to comfortably take on daring roles and maintain her creative energy well into her 70s. In 2025, at the age of 72, Janine Duvitski continues to work steadily, appearing in television, theater, and occasionally in film projects. Her estimated net worth of around $1 million is the result of more than half a century devoted to her craft. But her greatest value lies in the image of a charming comedic actress who knows how to turn every scene into a memorable moment and who stands as living proof that talent and passion can go hand in hand with family happiness. Tony Maudsley as Kenneth Dubicki. Tony Maudsley was born on January 30th, 1968, in Kirkby, Liverpool, England. In 2011, when he was 43 years old, he joined Benidorm as Kenneth Dubicki, the flamboyant hairdresser with a quick wit and a bold fashion sense at the Blow and Go salon. With his playful acting style and great comedic chemistry with other characters, Kenneth quickly became one of the show's highlights, giving audiences plenty of laughs and helping to shape Benidorm's distinctive identity. The role also expanded Tony's influence, making him a familiar face on British television. Stepping away from Kenneth, Tony continued to maintain a diverse but demanding career. Trained at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama, he had made a strong impact early on with his portrayal of Stefan Kuso in A Life for a Life, 1998, which earned him the Royal Television Society's Best Newcomer Award. Still, success brought its own challenges, especially when working on high-profile projects like The Chase, Charity Edition, where Tony admitted to feeling the pressure of time constraints and audience expectations. On stage, he often played dame roles in pantomimes such as Jack and the Beanstalk and Aladdin, which required both humor and stamina to maintain performance quality through dozens of consecutive shows. In 2025, at the age of 56, Tony Maudsley continues to work tirelessly, with roles in Coronation Street, as George Shuttleworth, and many other projects. His estimated net worth of around $2 million is the result of more than 3 decades in the business. But his greatest value lies in his ability to spread positive energy, turning each character into a joyful memory for audiences. From Kenneth's wit to the warmth and relatability of his more down-to-earth roles. Sherrie Hewson as Joyce Temple Savage. Sherrie Lynn Hutchinson, professionally known as Sherrie Hewson, was born on September 17, 1950, in Beeston, near Nottingham, England. In 2012, when she was 62 years old, she joined Benidorm as Joyce Temple Savage, the strict yet humorous manager of the Solana resort. With her authoritative presence, sharp dialogue, and graceful handling of situations, Joyce quickly became a standout character, marking a memorable milestone in Sherrie's decades-long television career. Behind the spotlight, Sherrie's life was filled with turbulence. After calling off her engagement to actor Robert Lindsay upon discovering his infidelity, she entered a violent relationship with John Rawlins, a man who once assaulted her to the point of unconsciousness in a bar. Even after ending the relationship, he continued to stalk and harass her for years. Sherrie went through 2 failed marriages, first to artist Hector Blamey, and later to Ken Boyd, whom she married in 1976 and had 1 daughter with. The second marriage ended in 2011 after Ken admitted to cheating. On top of heartbreak, in 2007, Sherrie was declared bankrupt after more than 30 years in the business, describing the experience as like having a terrible, contagious disease. By 2025, at the age of 74, Sherrie Hewson still appears regularly on screen in Hollyoaks and other projects, as well as taking part in talk shows. She drew public attention in 2020 when she openly underwent a facelift to improve her appearance, sparking much debate. With an estimated net worth of around $3 million and the image of a resilient woman, Sherrie continues to shine, proving that life's setbacks cannot extinguish the passion and strength that have defined her career. Hugh Sachs as Gavin Ramsbottom. Hugh J. Sachs was born on February 25, 1964 in Manchester, England, and is a familiar face to British television audiences. In 2007, when he was 43 years old, he joined Benidorm as Gavin Ramsbottom, a cheerful, stylish, and energetic gay man who often delivered witty laughs while also creating many warm and heartfelt moments. Thanks to his natural acting style and strong on-screen chemistry with his co-stars, Hugh turned Gavin into one of the most beloved characters of the series. Behind the cheerful image on screen, Hugh Sachs faced considerable pressure when taking on a gay role at a time when the subject was still a source of debate on British television. He once shared that praise from the LGBTQ+ community was a great motivation for him, but he also had to deal with negative reactions from a portion of conservative viewers. The tension forced him to learn how to balance work with his private life, making sure the pressures of the job did not harm his mental health. Although he keeps his personal life private, Hugh has used his career to advocate for diversity and equality on screen. By 2025, at the age of 60, Hugh Sachs continues to enjoy success with roles in Bridgerton and its prequel Queen Charlotte. With an estimated net worth of around $1 million, he remains passionate about his craft and continues to make his mark in both comedy and drama. Having endured the pressures, prejudices, and changes of the entertainment industry, Hugh stays true to his charming, subtle, and distinctive style, securing his lasting place in the hearts of audiences. Paul Bazely as Troy Ganatra. Paul Reginald Bazely was born on May 6, 1968, in Lambeth, London, England, to Indian parents originally from Chennai. In 2007, when he was 39 years old, he joined Benidorm as Troy Ganatra, Gavin's calm, level-headed partner, who brought balance and warmth to the often chaotic and comedic atmosphere of the Solana resort. Before that, Bazely had already built extensive acting experience through appearances in series such as Emmerdale, Holby City, and The IT Crowd. Off-screen, Paul Bazely has enjoyed a long and stable marriage to playwright and screenwriter Charlotte Jones since 1998, and together they have 2 children, Daniel and Molly. However, maintaining a family while pursuing a career in television and theater required him to spend long periods traveling and working away from home. He has shared that there were times when work pressures and heavy filming schedules caused him to miss many important moments in his children's lives, which led him to learn how to better balance his art and personal life. Even so, the support of his wife and children helped him through the most challenging times, especially when working on major projects such as Pirates of the Caribbean and Cruella. At the age of 56, Paul Bazely continues to captivate audiences across television, theater, and audiobook narration. His estimated net worth of around $1 million USD is the result of nearly 3 decades in the profession, from Hollywood sets to London's West End. Steadfast in his passion and maintaining the image of a calm, thoughtful artist, he is not only a familiar face from Benidorm, but also a testament to a solid career that goes hand in hand with a happy family life. Johnny Vegas as Jeff Maltby. Michael Joseph Pennington, professionally known as Johnny Vegas, was born on September 5, 1970 in St. Helens, England, and is one of the most prominent comedic figures in the country, known for his distinctive Lancashire accent, gravelly voice, and a style of comedy that blends satire with surrealism. In 2007, when he was 36 years old, he appeared in Benidorm as Jeff the Oracle Maltby, a puzzle-loving, slightly awkward yet irresistibly charming man. This role quickly became one of the most popular characters in the series, helping bring Johnny Vegas closer to mainstream audiences alongside his already successful comedy career. Johnny Vegas's personal life has often been a focal point for the press. He married Catherine Kitty Donnelly in 2002, and they had 1 child together, but separated in 2006 and divorced in 2008. In 2011, he married Irish television presenter Maya Dunphy in Seville, Spain. They welcomed their first son in 2015, but the marriage went through several separations and reconciliations, first splitting in 2017, reuniting at the end of 2018, and then quietly parting ways again before 2020. Alongside marital breakdowns, Johnny has been candid about his struggles with mental health, admitting that the demands of performing and a heavy work schedule sometimes left him exhausted. Now at the age of 53, Johnny Vegas remains active on stage, television, and in directing. With an estimated net worth of around $10 million USD, he stands as proof that an artist can maintain their unique style while sustaining long-term appeal. Outside of his work in the arts, Johnny continues to live in his hometown of St. Helens, actively participates in community projects, and maintains a deep bond with the place where he was born. And that is the journey from the sun-soaked paradise of Benidorm to the unexpected twists. Whose transformation impressed you the most? Leave a comment. Subscribe so we can keep exploring the stories behind the spotlight.